Hi, this is a reflection on lesson 305 in A Course in Miracles, and it says, there is a peace that Christ bestows on us. There is a peace that Christ bestows on us. And it's talking about how when we use Christ's vision, we feel the peace so deep and quiet, undisturbable, changeless, that there's nothing apart from it in the world. And so it talks about comparisons and being free of judgment on ourselves. And this one, what I thought, or what it kind of brought to mind for me, was how, like, my brain, my mind that is always seeking something other than what is happening right now. I often wonder, like, what is that? When it happens now, I notice it like right away, hopefully. Maybe I don't all the time. But more and more I'm noticing it more readily. That when my mind's like, there's something to do, there's something to figure out, there's somewhere to be other than here, there's like whatever that is, it's like taking me away from my life, like living this moment. And so I love now that I see it in those terms, because all I've ever wanted was to be in my life fully engaged. And what I reflected on yesterday, so anyway, before I go there, if I end up going there, this whole idea of comparison and judgment, like comparing, like thinking, like the mind wants to like take me away from this moment, as if what's happening now isn't the most important, most beautiful, most whatever thing that could be happening right now. And that kind of makes me sad sometimes. Like, wait a minute, I chose to be in this place right now, or I wouldn't be here, right? I mean, that doesn't go for everybody if they're being held against their will, but all that aside, hopefully that's not happening, but I chose to be here doing this in this moment, and yet something in my mind is like thinking about tomorrow, thinking about yesterday, thinking about, man, what could I be doing other than this? And it's like, oh, I don't like that when my brain still wants to do that. When the ego self comes in and says, oh, there's something to figure out here. Here, put me to work. Because when I'm in the moment, living my life fully engaged, my mind goes silent. The ego part goes silent. And there was something interesting. I was reading A Course in Miracles, the actual text this morning, trying to get back to that to see if I could possibly finish it by the end of the year, because I kind of slacked on like the text part of it. And it was talking about how to recognize that we've never been separate from what is, from source. We've never been separate. It's just it's just the illusion of separateness that keeps us all in suffering. And the ego doesn't like that recognition that we've never been separate, because that means the ego is illusion as well. Because the ego is what fuels that separateness. So if we realize, wait a minute, that's not even real. Like, I've never been separate. And then the ego goes, ah, and then poof, it's gone. So it's also what it made me think of, is that part in the book. I love the timing of when I run across things that really resonate. And like set this whole idea that, wait a minute, I don't have to be separate from what's happening right here, right now. And when I really drop into it, I'm like, man, this is the most interesting thing going on. Like, why? Of course I don't want to be anywhere other than right here. And I thought of that yesterday when I was made way too long of a long-winded video, but I was working on a sewing project. And when I started to get into the weeds of it, which I put myself in that situation because I was like, oh yeah, I have a whole day to just like get in the weeds. Then when I really got in the weeds, something in me was like, ah, it's overwhelming, run away. And then I played with that since it was all sensation in the body. And then the mind was like, there's a problem here. Well, that settled down, and then I dropped in again to just sheer joy and peace and playtime. So when my mind gets revved up, like there's something else needs to be happening, it usually points me back to my body to say, wait a minute, a sensation came and went that I didn't track. And then the mind got activated to say, there's a problem. So that's what I've been playing with more, is really looking at every sensation, especially from this lesson, just to like, ever since yesterday when that happened, like feeling every sensation and not like if I feel a little ick in my body, then I just feel it fully and I just breathe through it, track it with my awareness, whatever it's doing, and then it dissipates and I move on. And trying to not let this make a story out of it or make like do some problem solving, like, oh, we've got to fix it, we've got to squash it, we've got to ignore it, distract from it, shame it, reprimand it, whatever. Don't turn it into a story like, oh, this again, when will it stop feeling like that, whatever. And so that has been, and it's only been a little while that I've been tracking sensation, but it's led me to this point of now just like not even letting, hopefully, like I said, sensations come and go without me even like recognizing that they've come and gone, but more and more stopping, pausing, looking at it, letting my awareness follow it, because it's quieting this thing and I'm able to drop into the present moment in my life and be like, yeah, everything is so equanimous. There is no good and bad. It's just sensation. My mind wants to make it a good or make it bad, which is attaching to it, to make it something, to, like I said yesterday, to make something out of nothing. And so that's where I'm at now. This whole like recognizing that all this ego part wants to do is make something out of nothing, when really there's just nothing here but isness. And when I drop into the isness, it's pure joy and peace. Everything is just, things are just as they are. And I chose to be here in this moment, so I'm going to be here in this moment. Or else I'd be somewhere else in this moment, right? Doing something else. So I think that's another thing too I was talking with a client, with a friend the other day about sometimes when you make plans, we were talking about how I said no is a complete sentence. Like it's okay, right? We've all heard that, and yet sometimes it's still hard to just say no and leave it at that. So the context, one of them was like, you make plans, right? To do something, to attend something, to hang out with someone, whatever it is. Something just totally easy and benign and no big deal. Not like something you have to prepare for. And then the day comes and you wake up and you're like, I'm not feeling it. It's okay to reach out to that person in clear communication and say, I know we had said we were going to do this today, or I know I said I would attend this thing. I woke up and I'm just not feeling it. I think I would rather do this instead, like stay home, play in my kitchen, do some crafts, be with myself, read a book, whatever. You don't even have to explain it because no is a complete sentence. But having that courage to speak what's happening. Oh my God. Sorry, there's like something happening right there. Oh, a roly-poly had come in here and it died. It was a carcass. Like dried up. Poof, it just disintegrated. That happens when it's fall time. The bugs want to come inside, and then it's like, dude, there's no food in here. You should have just stayed outside and lived your life. But no, you came in to die alone. So sad. So, where was I? Oh, I'm so easily distracted. Yeah, I forgot where I left off. And I'm not going to rewind this video and restart it because then I'd have to edit it together. And that's a whole thing I don't want to do right now. Oh, yeah, saying no, you don't want to do something. Thank you. So we were talking about that whole, it's like to stay authentic to what you really feel in every moment and be able to speak clearly with people. And it gives, like, they're not going to be mad, and if they're mad, there's usually something else going on with them, and maybe you can even inquire into that and have a real honest heart-to-heart conversation. But usually people are like, okay, like it's usually refreshing, at least when I've been on the receiving end of that, it's usually really refreshing. Be like, oh my God, that gives me permission to do that too, right? So the more we can just be in our authentic voice, be in alignment with what we're feeling, act in alignment with what we're feeling in every moment, and not not put ourselves where we don't want to be. I think it goes back to that. What the heck is happening? Oh. This fell out of my pocket, and I was like, that noise means there's something else in here. Okay, I'm freaking myself out. So yeah, I think that goes back to I'm going to authentically be where I want to be, and I'm going to be here fully. Otherwise, I'd be there still hanging out with whomever, doing what I said I was going to do. But I don't want to do that out of obligation and not out of wanting to be there. And so I hope we can do that with each other more and more. I'm speaking for myself. The funny part is, like, if somebody asks you to do something, this is so fun to practice. I practice it with my husband, and it throws him for a loop. I love him so much. So, and then I give in and I explain because, like, I don't want to hurt his feelings because, we go way back. So, but to practice no as a complete sense is so fun. So sometimes he'll ask me if I want to do something, and if I don't want to, I'll just say no and look at him. And he's like, has that expectant look, like and why not? And we always, like with friends, okay, spouses aside, they get a clean whatever, but everyone else, I shouldn't say spouses, just sometimes we have those people in our lives, like we have so much history built up that of course I'm going to explain to him why I don't want to, right? Or that I kind of changed my mind, I'd rather do this instead. So, but to say no as a complete sentence with somebody would be so fun, because they're usually, and I speak for myself and my friend who was saying the same thing, where usually we offer more. Like, no is hard. No, when you think about it, is the same as yes. What's the difference? They're just a word. Like, if somebody says, hey, do you want to go get coffee? Sure. You don't spend like 3 more sentences going, And I think that would be great because I've really been wanting a cup of coffee and I've really been wanting to spend time with you. And I think we're just going to have a great time. And like you sometimes might do that if you're really excited to do something, but usually like, sure, it sounds great. And then you set up the details. But if you say no, like somebody's like, you want to go grab a cup of coffee and you just say no and just look at them. Doesn't it feel like, oh, it feels wrong, but it shouldn't, right? It's just the same. It's just the word, the same as yes. And so we offer up, again, I'll speak for myself. I offer up like, no, because I have blah, blah, blah going on. Or blah, 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 blah. It's like, they don't need that information. What's that do for them? Are they going to write it down in their diary? Well, they were doing this today. That's really important for me to understand. And I'm so glad they told me. And it has nothing to do. Like, no. It's so silly, the things that we do out of like this. I think it's like, I don't know. What is it? It's like we really do care about each other's feelings a lot. So that's a good thing, I think. Like we don't want people to feel like you don't want to spend time with them, right? You don't, like it's, I think coming from a decent place most of the time. But sometimes it comes from that place of like, like these internal stories about, like, I don't know, like obligation. Like we owe it, like it's a self-worth thing, I think, where it's like we value other people oftentimes more than ourselves. We value other people more than our own authenticity. So if it goes to that place, that's why I think it's a great practice, because it's like really calling into question, like, why am I over explaining? Why am I even talking about this? Anyway, I thought it was just another thing that tickled me. The whole no is a complete sentence. It's fun to practice. And I think it'd be fun in a group setting to just get in pairs and like practice and just feel that urge. Like, and that maybe that goes back to a lot of the practices I'm doing lately is just creating space between the input or the input, the stimulus, and the response, and really feeling what comes up in the space that I create with that, putting a buffer between stimulus and response, because that's where the juicy stuff is. That's where the whole like, ooh, let's work with this. Like when I've been wanting to become more clear and more clear and more clear, meaning let go, let all this stuff out that are remnants of old behaviors, old machinery in there, from conditioning. Usually I can get to it by doing things like that, like stimulus and response, pause, sense the sensations. Ooh, what's that all about? So if I talk about it a lot lately, it's because that's what I'm doing a lot of lately, just to get at more that, because like things are pretty good lately in Equanimous, and I laugh a lot when things happen, or I make a big mess and I don't, whatever. So it's like, but there's always more, and that seems to be a great way of like creating the opportunity for inquiry and feeling all the feels, which is great lately too. A lot of things are making me cry lately, and I love that. Like just the beauty. It's usually about beauty and recognizing the impermanence of everything. I just love it. Like it just like, oh, what is that? There's a lot of that lately too. But I'm gonna go clean up this roly-poly. Bye.